I don't like bullies.
There's a special place reserved for those who like to bully, and the TV region sure as heck ain't the place. However, if you want to enjoy bullies getting owned, then this is exactly where you need to be.
Just signed your own death certificate, player.
How do I know this? Because you showed a lot of love to Volume 1, so prepare yourselves for Volume 2 of the top 25 times when bullies got owned across films and TV.
None more important than this.
Well, maybe you prefer this.
Dan Stevens is a criminally underrated actor, and I wish he got more credits than just a side character in the MonsterVerse films. Anyway, 2014's The Guest showcased his acting skills quite nicely, especially when you look at the bar fight scene where he takes on all those idiot boys who thought that they could bully a lethal soldier.
Thanks for the drink.
You're welcome.
I don't want it, though. You can have it.
It starts off with a drink to the face and ends with several stitches to multiple bodies. First of all, why would you want to waste alcohol, especially when it's hard for people your age to get it legally? Not that I endorse unlawful consumption or anything like that, but anyway, my interest is in the way David brutally destroys these losers without having to break a sweat. You can totally feel the pain in those punches because the sound effects were pretty intense. Even the story that he orders the bar owner to tell the cops later highlighted how he carefully thought out everything right from the start.
Call the police and tell them the truth. Gang of high school kids came in here and demanded you serve them drinks. Well, you tried to ID them, but they threatened to cause trouble.
My personal favourite moment from David is when he catches an attacker's arm swinging the bottle at his head with full strength, then takes it from his hand and busts it across the guy's face. That's a pretty badass way to tell the dude, you're way out of your league here, little bro.
You better watch your ass.
What's going on?
Just giving Jimmy some pointers. He's here to try it for the team.
Not a lot of people have heard about 2005's Cursed, and to be honest, you aren't really missing out on much. It's basically Jesse Eisenberg turning into a werewolf before becoming the founder of Facebook. However, he does have a trick or two up his sleeve, and we see it when he takes on Bo, who tries to bully him for hitting on Brooke.
Actually, we were just talking. But if you don't mind, shoot. Oh, you are asking for it, Abercrombie? Oh, come on. Oh, you're really becoming transparent. Look, have a little identity intervention, okay? Because all this internalized homophobia is just giving you away.
Apart from this clip going viral on TikTok a few years ago, I think you've noticed a pattern when it comes to bullies always trying to one-up their victims because of a girl. In the case of Jimmy versus Bo, though, it's the nerd who totally dominates a wrestling match where he doesn't just take on the bully, but his entourage as well. It starts off with Jimmy struggling, so we as the audience don't really know what to expect from the fight.
Element of surprise!
However, once our boy taps into his werewolf instincts, he totally dominates all three bullies, even despite a surprise attack. My personal favourite has got to be when Jimmy lifts up Bo and slams him right after saying something as random as, you know the best thing about being a fairy? You get to fly.
You know the best part about being a fairy? You get to fly.
Oh, what's wrong? You gonna cry?
Take a good look. You see any tears?
Okay, so technically speaking, this show was made for kids, so it doesn't really suit the categories that I usually cover, but there's a great lesson to be learned here, so I figured, why not? Plus, the TV region is all about equality, and as long as you're owning bullies, then I don't mind including anything. So, Power Rangers Mega Force has this one scene where a bunch of stupid bullies try to pick on Nick without realizing that he's got enough strength to smash all of them at the same time.
You know what we call new kids around here? Fresh meat.
The first sequence doesn't see any violence at all, but Nick makes a statement when he challenges that weirdo who wants to see him cry. He looks super badass while saying it, so that works out just well, but then these bullies go ahead and pick on a little kid because they can't seem to take the hint. Also, what's with that dude only wanting to see his victims cry? Bro's worse than Daenerys wanting her subjects to bend the knee.
I offer you a choice. Bend the knee and join me.
Luckily, Nick comes to the rescue yet again, and all it takes is a slight crushing of the bully's fist to get the job done. The message he gives here is great, especially if you consider the fact that this is meant for the kids watching the show. However, I do have to point out that the acting is hilariously bad. If this carried on for a few more seconds, I'm sure Disney would have hired Nick for the next Star Wars show.
Just because you're bigger doesn't mean you can pick on him, or even this bud.
No matter how small, everything deserves respect.
Hey, Spot! Heads up! UFO, brother!
These were the good old days when actors in their 20s could play high school students so shamelessly and no one would even bat an eyelid. At least that doesn't change the fact that John Smith totally owns Mark and the Bullies when they tried to make fun of Sam for his conspiracy theories. It's a pretty simple moment with not much confrontation, but even so, John makes sure his emotions are communicated when he throws back the ball with extra force and sends that dude almost flying away. It's a pretty cool moment, and you can see the bullies freaking over it, almost as if they're dealing with an alien. Oh wait, they actually are dealing with an alien, aren't they? I would have preferred it if the dude got the ball in his face, because that would have been a bit more savage.
Naughty, you teasing me?
I mean, the football, okay? Not any other ball. Sheesh, what are you thinking? But yeah, it was solid stuff all around, and I am sad that they didn't come up with a sequel to I Am Number 4. Yeah, this movie didn't exactly do well at the box office, but it wasn't a devastating flop either, and there were so many other books they could have adapted into better films.
Dude, let's go. Go where? Hey, talking to you, Gollum. It's just the one master rule them all. My precious.
Hey, what's your problem?
Okay, so this one's a bit emotional as we see Oggy and Jack getting attacked by some bullies who make the situation a whole lot worse by mocking Oggy's condition. With all the stuff that happens in the film up until this point, I'd say it's a great culmination of efforts because not only does Jack stand up for his best friend after the mistake he commits earlier in the movie, we also see Judy and's friends coming in to save the boys when the 7th graders get serious. It is such a heartening moment because these were the same kids who were on the other side of the table, so this is probably the nicest Uno reverse you'll ever see in a movie. Now, for those wondering why Oggy cries at the end, it's probably because none of the kids in school ever touch him because they'll get the plague or whatever. When his former bullies shook his hand and also complimented him for standing up for himself, I think it was the first time a kid, besides his friends, touched him and also valued him. It's an emotional release for Oggy, and it sure brought a joyful tear to my eye. On a side note, what's with that girl who sided with the bullies and only asked the boys to stop fighting when Jack retaliated? She could be a bully mastermind with that kind of attitude.
Yo, Jack, what's up, man? What's this, more little freaks? What, you call us hick? Come on, prep boy.
Guys, stop!
Webtoons and K-dramas make for a pretty decent combination, as can be seen in the case of The Uncanny Counter. If you haven't seen this one, you should give the show a shot because it's got an interesting premise. It also has a great scene where the hero So-mun takes down a gang of bullies with zero mercy and full swag. The way he smacks the first guy in itself is an S-tier flex because of the size difference between them. You normally wouldn't expect someone like So-mun to pull that off, especially if you consider the fact that this dude was disabled. Here, he's fully enabled to teach bullies a lesson, and he doesn't stop till he whacks the gang leader in front of a live audience. Also, I believe that getting slapped by another man in a fight is the ultimate insult for Koreans. Well, yeah, I think most men would find it insulting regardless of their origins, but yeah, it's like rubbing salt on a very open wound.
Thank God for my reefer, man.
I also love how So-mun openly tells the bully leader that it's time to see who the strongest is between them so that he can end his antics once and for all. This is what I call a hero. Of course, the school teachers are still going to find a way to make So-mun look like the villain.
선배만 꺾으면 다 끝나는 거예요? 우리 다 더 이상 무서워하지 않고 학교 다닐 수 있는 거냐고요.
Hey, outside.
Pay your check first.
I'll pay later.
You won't be able to.
Alan Richardson may be the more popular version of Jack Reacher, but that doesn't mean our man Tom Cruise can't pull off a savage hero. In the film version of Jack Reacher, we see him absolutely annihilating this girl named Sandy by questioning her morals throughout the entire conversation. Like, come on, the cheapest woman tends to be the one you pay for. Has got to be one of the most hurtful yet truthful lines of all time.
What I mean is the cheapest woman tends to be the one you pay for.
I'd call Jack the real bully in this scene, but then Sandy's bros come in to intimidate him. The responses Reacher hands out to those bullies are hilarious, but enough with the jokes. Let's move on to how Tom Cruise gave these clueless fools their first class in Scientology. Well, I mean, it's technically a whooping, isn't it? But potatoes, am I right? The precision with which Reacher owns these guys is an art form because everything he says turns out to be true, whether it's the two wingers trying to show loyalty to their leader or the two cowards who make a run for it after seeing what Reacher is really capable of. You know, I genuinely think this film would have been a massive hit if Tom Cruise was at least 6 foot tall.
I'll have to contend with 1 or 2 enthusiastic wingmen. The last 2 guys, they always run.
Cool, let's just go. It's okay.
No, we're not gonna go. This man insulted you, and we're not gonna leave until he apologizes.
It's okay.
Hey, we got a problem here.
No.
Yeah, we got a big problem.
The friendship and rivalry between Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart is something everyone knows and loves, which is why the bar scene from Central Intelligence is a gem of a moment. First of all, let me just point out to you that The Rock is supposed to be at least 6'3" or 6'4", so the bullies he takes on are extremely tall. It's not every day you see a dude towering over Dwayne Johnson, but hey, size doesn't matter. Now, Calvin may have tried to calm everyone down with some tacos, but Bob was having none of it. So after a few hilarious lines and smart exposition, he proceeds to smack down these bullies without having to resort to any serious moves.
Why don't you and your boyfriend apologize to Big Rick here, and then go jerk each other off in the parking lot?
That's a lot.
Yeah, you're right, CJ. That's a lot of homophobia coming out of a very angry man.
It's a brutal display that would make any bully want to question his motivation in life, and seeing Calvin's reactions only made the whole thing that much more enjoyable. The worst part for those guys, though, was that they didn't get to enjoy those nachos Calvin had offered. Also, that girl who says, "I hope he's Catholic," was a random but funny addition to the scene.
Oh my god, I hope he's Catholic.
I guess nobody can match the friendship that exists between a couple of bald guys.
Oh my god! What the hell was that? Bob, that was amazing. I've never seen anything like that.
Jackie Chan is a martial arts legend who needs no introduction. Like, everyone knows him, regardless of where they're from. Unfortunately, for the bullies in The Karate Kid, they had no idea, which is why they were in for a thorough thrashing from themselves. Yeah, that's right. Mr. Han comes in at the very last second to save Dre from these bullies, and he fights 6 of them at the same time without actually landing a direct hit on any of them. He just lets the kids beat each other up by redirecting their blows. I mean, it makes sense because it's not a good look for an old dude to beat up 6 kids now, is it? Yeah, Mr. Han brought the "why are you hitting yourself" joke to a whole new meaning with this display. Even if the cops ask Han who beat these kids up, he can literally say that they beat each other up, and he wouldn't be wrong about it now, would he? I'd say his lungs did more damage than the 6 kids combined, but I suppose he is human after all. Also, Jackie Chan does a fine job of showcasing karate here, but I'm not sure Jaden Smith got the memo. Bro ended up caring about the political and economic state of the world instead. Here's a fun flick from the 80s that has a rather dramatic final fight, or should I say, series of fights. 3 O'Clock High is essentially based on this one fight that happens at, you guessed it, 3 o'clock. Our participants are a nerd named Jerry and a bully named Buddy. Yeah, I know how ironic it is to have a name like that for such a hated character. What really takes me aback is the fact that Buddy literally punches the freaking principal of the school as well. Now, this obviously pisses him off, and when you have the authorities on your side, you can rarely go wrong. Having said that, Jerry gets owned for most of the fight and is about to see God when Buddy prepares to smack him with his brass knuckles. Thank God for Junior Bill Gates, Vincent, who distracts the bully long enough for Jerry to turn into Saitama and end the battle with a single punch. The vibe of the scene is impeccable, with everyone, including the principal himself, rooting for Jerry to teach Buddy a lesson.
Don't f this up, Mitchell!
It's almost as if we're watching a couple of gladiators going at it here.
Get him, Frankie. Cut him, Frankie. Get him, Frankie. Get him. Get him, Frankie. Cut him.
Shoot. All straight in the book.
Once again, this is a case of old versus young, but this time the young are old enough to deserve a direct thrashing. Garth and Hub are war veterans who know a thing or two about combat, so it comes as no surprise to see them dominating a gang of wannabe tough guys with minimum effort. It's mainly Hub who deals the damage because he lectures the gang leader on how he has the kind of passion a flea like him wouldn't understand. Also, if a man disarms you and lectures you on how to use a knife properly in a fight, you need to just count your chickens and quit whilst you can. That wasn't the case, and we got to see a rather hilarious takedown. I love the part where Hub takes a break to drink some beer while he's also choking one of his ops.
He's selfish that way.
But there's 4 of them.
I want to point out that Robert Duvall is 93 and Michael Caine is 91, and the fact that these guys are more badass than 90% of men today really says a lot about their personalities. Well, when the most popular dudes nowadays are Drake and Harry Styles, it's not like they have a lot to compete against, do they?
Oh, okay. You hold it wrong, son. Not like this. You always do it like this. Smooth. All right? Try it again. Oh, shit.
Come on now. Hey, Pops. Come on now.
Shut your face. And don't listen, do you? Now get in the truck.
There's something about an old dude showing a bunch of young bullies their place that seems to oddly satisfy me. Like, it shows that the boomers and co aren't always the villains that the woke crowd like to make them out to be. In this case, we have Walt Kowalski protecting Sue from bullies in the hood when her useless Trey is nothing more than a bro man. It's even funnier when you realise that Trey is actually Clint Eastwood's son in real life. The fake gun act at first perfectly sets up the surprise for the bullies when Walt pulls out the Colt 1911.45 ACP, which is a universal translator. It says F off in every language. But yeah, I can sense the disappointment in Walt because of Trey's cowardly antics. It's almost as if Clint wrote this scene to specifically tell his son how he really feels about him.
Want to be super spade or something? These guys don't want to be your bro, and I don't blame them. Now get your old fade patty ass on down the road.
I also like how the bullies say "you too" to Walt after he tells them to take care. It's like a mark of respect they're showing to him for being more gangster than they could ever hope to be.
Take care now.
Yeah, you too.
He asked you twice.
Twice what, loser?
Jason Statham makes another appearance in a bully video, and for all the right reasons. Oh wait, it's not Jason, but rather his daughter Maddie, who shows what's up to her bully Teddy. It's a great scene because you can see how calm Maddie is, even though I'm sure she wants to beat Teddy to a pulp using the skills her dad's taught her. She even asked him to return her cap a couple of times, so it's fair game, and oh boy, she violates him to a whole other level. The gut shot plus kick to the nose combo is the kind of stuff you see in Mortal Kombat, right? And of course, the teacher only comes in when she sees Maddie smacking Teddy. Like, is this some kind of running gag that the film industry and education sector has conspired on? That dude totally deserved the whooping he got, but it's still Maddie who has to deal with the consequences of her actions. But hey, at least Broker can be proud of his kid for her fighting skills. He might even recruit her into the Expendables once she's old enough.
I warned him 2 times like I was supposed to.
The schoolyard monitor said she saw Maddie hit Teddy pretty hard, like she knew what she was doing.
He started it.
What's your name?
Brad.
Brad, why don't you get up here in front of the class here and read conversation number 5.
There's something about young Leonardo DiCaprio that makes everyone want to give him a second chance. Just look at Frank from Catch Me If You Can. That dude posed under multiple identities and was still allowed to operate his scams as he pleased. In this scene though, his impersonation as a professor is totally warranted when he takes care of that bully Brad who tried to act smart by pushing him in front of a female student.
You selling encyclopedias? Yeah, it looks like a substitute teacher.
Justice is served the moment Brad sees Frank as the substitute teacher in class, and he regrets it immediately when he's made to read in front of class like a jester. Now, I do feel bad for the old lady who not only was the actual substitute teacher, but also had to come all the way to class only to be brushed aside by a con artist.
What do they think? It's easy for a woman my age and all the money that it costs to travel? I tell you, they don't give a damn.
Also, what's the deal between Brad and that nerd friend of his? I'm sure their buddy behavior has a lot to do with bullying as well.
Excuse me, people, if I need to ask again, I'm going to write up the entire class. Take your seats!
Well, either your daddy got ripped off or you're back in make-believe land, sweetheart. Because we feel fabulous. Not for long.
It's a known fact that girls in high school tend to be extremely hostile towards those they might deem to be their competition. Mean Girls is pretty much the biggest example of that, but let me bring your attention to this epic moment from Kick-Ass 2, where Hit Girl teaches Brooke a rather deadly lesson. The stick implementation right after a menacing chat was the perfect way for her to get back at the bully girl and her accomplices, although I must say I wouldn't want to be eating my lunch anywhere near this scene. Kudos to whoever wrote the line about wanting to make the world a better place rather than winning, because it landed perfectly.
You win. I don't want to win. I just want to make the world a better place.
Considering that this movie came out the same year as the Carrie remake, it means Chloe Grace Moretz really took down the popular kids in 2 universes in 1 year. Let that sink in now. However, I want to make sure that everyone knows who the real victim of this attack really is: the school janitor. He's definitely not going to have a nice time cleaning up all that icky material.
Are you coming? I have to finish my workout. Might as well finish on you.
There's no denying the fact that Bruce Lee was one of the most badass martial artists of all time. Heck, even the dude playing him was so badass that he took on Joe and an entire gang of gym bullies in 1993's Dragon: The Bruce Lee Story. It's a standard depiction of entitled gym bros thinking that they own the place, but Bruce Lee makes them eat their words with class and charisma. One thing I don't get though is how they allowed so many racial slurs but muted the one word that's actually not so bad.
I'll kill you. I'm Bruce Lee.
Anyway, I love how Bruce apologised about Joe's father and the Korean War, even after he was being hateful. Mr. Lee defended himself and yet he was very respectful. The line, "Don't touch me, or I'll touch you back," was pretty cool as well. Also, here's some trivia for you. Jason Scott Lee also played Mowgli in 1994's Jungle Book. I suppose fitness has never been a problem for him, right?
Sorry about your father. That was Koreans. I'm an American.
Look who rose from the dead.
Jeremy Gilbert is a character that awakened the intrusive thoughts of tons of young women throughout the 2010s. He's also supposed to be a quiet kid who shouldn't be messed with, so it's understandable to see him lose his composure after those bullies started to mess around with him by tossing his phone around. Come on, Nina Dobrev is calling him, so let the man answer. Yeah, I know they're cousins, but look, the joke still applies. Seeing the brutality of how some of those moves really made me feel concerned for those bullies, because Jeremy could have made things really serious if he continued for a few more seconds. Also, the dude is ripped AF. These guys should have known better than to mess with him. Jerry had the best possible chance to get at his bully who asked if his phone rings. All he had to do after the thrashing was ask him, "How's your head? Does it ring?" But I can understand that sassiness doesn't come to him naturally.
You stuck a knife in my belly? So what the you want? Kiss?
It's kinda odd to be happy about a guy named Epstein getting revenge for what was done to him, but this dude's first name is Justin, so I'm gonna allow it, okay? This scene involves Epstein getting back at the thugs who stabbed him a while ago. This in itself should be enough to warrant the thrashing he hands out to those clueless goons, but I also want to point out the fact that he was able to take a beating from 3 dudes at the same time, only to turn it around with some sick moves and even more savage lines. The part where he tells the leader he's next as he snaps his buddy's arm was brutal and smooth as well.
You're next, bitch.
Also, when Epstein is asked what he wants and he responds with, "I don't know, a kiss?" I couldn't stop laughing. But yeah, he sure is a stone cold operator because he almost ended up ending those dudes only to go on and participate in the beatdown as if nothing happened.
Just be quiet. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm not gonna hurt you. I came here to thank you. I want to thank you for turning me into the beast that I am today.
What the happened to your eye?
Santa may be known as a good guy who spreads joy, but when he's played by Billy Bob Thornton, he spreads vengeance as well. Upon finding out what happened to Thurman, Santa turns bad and totally lays into his bully, completely ignoring the fact that he's beating the living daylights out of a kid. If I'm being honest with you, I don't particularly enjoy how in a typical movie, the bully would have just been dealt with using humiliation or something, but in a movie about a scumbag with no standards, Bad Santa uses his fists on the bully even though it's just a kid, which makes this scene sheer perfection from a raw and realistic standpoint. There should actually be a Santa who does stuff like this to kids who end up on the naughty list. Also, please don't make Drake that Santa, he wouldn't understand the assignment.
So you like to give little kids black eyes, huh?
Oh.
So I know that I just said about not liking it when bullies only get humiliated, but at the end of this movie, there's a lot of physical damage, so I'll allow the violation that happens to Morty and his gang at the hands of Clifford and his new bodyguard, Ricky. What started off as a simple spraying of sauces eventually translates into public humiliation, which only gets worse when Moody's own friends refuse to support him in fighting Ricky. The look on Moody's face is enough to tell us that he's been totally outplayed here, and there's no coming back from that kind of defeat.
Man, take this guy.
It's all yours, Big M.
Now, here's some trivia for you. The guy playing Ricky, Adam Baldwin, also played Animal Mother in Full Metal Jacket 7 years later. It looks like the whole tough guy act finally landed him in the army.
Show him how tough you are. How about you guys take this dude? a chump, man.
Who's the fruit this time, huh, Mooney?
I'll tell you, you learn a lot of things on the way to 500. None more important than this.
Yeah, this was peak level Vin Diesel, both in terms of acting as well as physical fitness. Knock Around Guys was also released during a time when he didn't really care about family, so that's all the more reason for this entry to land at number 4. Taylor's description of 500 fights is directed quite well because it's easy to make it sound cringy. Luckily, Vin Diesel does a great job of delivering lines right before he lays into the bully who thinks it's okay to raise his hand to a woman. There's no mercy for such a crime, which is probably why his goons also didn't want any part in it. Also, kudos to Matty for teaching us all a very valuable lesson. You don't have to be the best fighter in the bar, you just have to be his friend.
Don't turn your back on me.
Honey, baby, get in the truck.
Get him, Jimmy! Get him, Jimmy! Get in there! Take him down, Jimmy! Arrest him!
Remember Maddie from a few entries ago? Yeah, her dad happens to be one of the most badass fighters in Hollywood, so it's but obvious that he comes out on top when the bully's dad tries to get confrontational with him. Broker tries his best not to enact violence in front of his kid and, more importantly, a cop, but there's only so much you can do, especially when your daughter's getting insulted. Good thing that the cop didn't arrest Broker as well, but Jimmy totally deserved it. Also, kudos to Kate Bosworth for playing the most convincing Karen I've ever seen in a movie. I swear, Cassie was more annoying than Teddy and Jimmy combined.
Hey, what, huh? Hey, what, you want to say something? You want to say something to me?
Also, fun fact here, Sylvester Stallone wrote the script for this film. I guess you just can't keep the Expendables apart now, can you?
I'm in trouble here.
No. Well, I saw what happened. He was out of line. You really have to take him down that hard, though?
Man, Michael Jai White is the African-American equivalent of Jackie Chan. Extra height and extra muscle. He's one dude you should stay away from regardless of their size. Those prison bullies from Blood and Bone clearly didn't get the message, which is why they end up how they do after Isaiah Bone completely wrecks them in less than 30 business seconds. Come on, if a man turns around and looks as ripped as Bone does, do you really want to mess with him? Bro must have put more effort in making his shirt wet than beating down all those inmates. On a serious note, it's a real shame that someone as talented as White hasn't become a household name. He should be all over action movies fighting CGI bears or whatever.
I need you to deliver a message. I want you to tell everybody behind these walls that if they get the notion to f with me, don't.
You know what was a good time? 2008, when Never Back Down got released. Yeah, this was the perfect martial arts film for teenagers wanting to feel cool about fighting. It had everything in it, and in the final battle, Jake finally takes on his bully Ryan and owns him in front of a live audience. As good as Cam Giganden's performance was as a bratty fighter, the impact of his defeat was nothing short of legendary. The fact that Jake went into this having been injured in an earlier fight and got his ribs ruined during this one against Ryan and still won it is absolutely incredible. He was truly the better man, healthy or not. But yeah, real ones will know that the true villain wasn't Ryan, but Amber Heard. Things were definitely not okay between the boys, but it sure got heated once Baha left Ryan for Jake. Hope you liked the video, please subscribe to the TV Region, and here's another video I know you're going to enjoy.